This chapter will quickly cover the basics of video editing a large project using Adobe Premiere 6.5. From the File menu, select New Project. You'll see many default project setups. If you click on the Custom icon, a new project settings window will appear. From this window you can customize all the properties of your project, such as the editing mode, compression method for the video, resolution, and compression method for the audio, among others. These can be left in the default settings for the most part, but feel free to change them around and experiment until you find settings you like. I'm going to load a scene that I quickly prepared earlier. You'll notice that I've loaded a portion of the original Matrix preview onto the timeline here. I've also imported several clips that were rendered in TrueSpace, as well as a few other files. Clicking here shows the current frame in the preview window. You can drag the arrow along, like this, and the scene plays through the preview screen as you move. You can also use the plus or minus keys on the keyboard and either zoom in or out to see more or less of the timeline, like this. I've already cut the scenes from the preview into individual chunks using the razor tool, and I'll show you how to match it up with the rendered scene. Simply grab it from here and drag it onto the timeline. In this case, we have to be sure that it matches up with the original video, so we position it like this. Now we zoom in at the end of that specific scene. You'll notice that the rendered scene from TrueSpace is a little longer than the actual scene. You can easily change its length by right-clicking on it and selecting duration. We see the TrueSpace rendering is 5 frames longer than the actual video, so we bring its duration down by 5 frames. Hitting enter, you'll see that it now matches up nicely. We go ahead and drag the next scene out, and we see that it's much larger. Instead of spending an eternity counting individual frames, you can estimate the right length and type it in. If it doesn't match up, you can simply edit it again until it does. You'll notice the next scene is a white flash. For this, I've loaded a solid white bitmap. This can be loaded as if it were a video. All you need to do is edit its duration down to 1 frame. By default, its duration is always 5 seconds. Now, as you can see, I'm going to fast forward through some of the boring time editing, and now I have 5 scenes placed on the timeline. Clicking play, you'll see that the renders can't be seen in the preview window. Simply disable the top layer by clicking on the eye here. Now clicking play shows what we've done so far. Since the rendered scenes have been matched up to the original scenes, there's no need to worry about audio synchronization. They will all match up perfectly in the end. Now, in order to transition between scenes, Premiere has many built-in effects. Select Show Transitions from the Windows menu. The one used predominantly in SouthParkReloaded is the Cross Dissolve effect. You can drag it out to the transition layer like so. In order to transition between 2 clips, one of the clips has to be on the lower layer. The area on which the transition overlaps the clip will be the area on which it's applied. The shorter you make it, the faster the effect. Also, the arrow determines whether the upper scene will transition to the lower scene, or vice versa. Pressing enter will cause Premiere to build a preview so that you can have an idea of how the effect will look in the final project. The effect was very quick, so let's try it a little slower, but this time fading to a white scene so we can see it more easily. We replace the scene back to its original spot, and we drag the white flash that we had set up earlier, and we place it on the lower layer. Dragging on its edges, we can change its length to one suitable here. We're also going to change the length of the transition to match up. Now, in order to allow for easier manipulation of clips, Adobe Premiere has a very useful feature where clips on different lines will snap to the beginnings and ends of each other. This is very good when you're manipulating transitions and multiple clips, as it allows for easy placement. I found this feature helped a lot when I was splicing all the video and its respective transitions together. We're going to remove some of the scenes trailing our clip in order to allow for a longer transition time. When you're ready to see how it looks, hit enter once again, and Adobe Premiere will once again build a preview of the effect. Now you can see, a more pronounced, slower fade has occurred. Putting all of the knowledge you've learned so far together will allow you to tackle any large project. You've seen that with a powerful tool such as TrueSpace, anything can be easily accomplished. You've now seen firsthand how simple little steps can add up to create an amazing final project. No matter what your final goal is, always remember this: all you need is a little bit of determination and the latest copy of TrueSpace.